Okay, this is going to be the third video on sequences in series. We covered this actually in the second one, but I wanted to make sure I had video notes and paper notes for this. We want to talk about infinite sums, okay, with sigma. Okay, now, there's a couple things. First of all, your R, remember your R has to be less than 1, okay? Now, in our problems, this part in the parentheses is considered the R, all right? So, as you can see, 1/2, 1/8, 3, that's bad. So this is one right here, just flat out not possible, okay? Because we talked about this in class, that sum would just keep getting bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger, okay? Now, I already have that. Now what I'm gonna need to do is I'm gonna have to apply the infinite sum formula. That's A1 over 1 minus R. Now I already have the R, that's easy. Now I gotta calculate A1, okay? Now, the way I do that is whatever that formula is, like in this case, I'm gonna go ahead and put 1 in for here and do a calculation. So that'll be 1/2 to the first power, okay? 8 times 1/2 to the first power, okay? So A1 in this case is 4, okay? All right, so now I can just go ahead and do this. 4 over 1 minus 1/2, okay? All right, 4 divided by 1 minus 1/2. Okay, so I get an answer of 8 for the sum there. Okay, this one, I gotta calculate A1. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put 28 into 1 minus 1, so that's gonna be 28 to the 8th to the 0 power, okay? 28 times 1/8 to the 0 power, you get 28. Okay, so I got infinite, okay, I got 28 over 1 minus 1/8. Okay, 28 divided by 1 minus 1/8. Oops, got to put parentheses on that 1/8. All right, 32. Okay, we already discussed, can't do that one. All right, so what I like you guys to do is go ahead and try these 3. Pause your video. Go ahead and try these 3 on your own. Okay, go ahead and unpause. All right, the only one that's not going to be possible is this one. All right, this is not possible. There's no sum for that. Okay, because it goes on and on forever. Okay, so I got R is 1/4 here. I got to find A1, so I got to put 1 in for N. Okay, so I'm going to do a calculation of 16. Okay, times 1/4 raised to the first power, which is 4. So I can apply this formula, which is 4 over 1 minus 1/4. Okay, so 4 divided by 1 minus 1/4 equals 5.3 repeated. Okay, this one not possible. We already talked about that. My R right here is 1/2. Okay. So what I got here is I got to find A1, which is 20, 1 or 1/2 to the 1 minus 1. So that's going to be 20 to the 1/2 to the 0 power. Okay, so let's figure out what that is. That's just 20. Okay, so I got 20 over 1 minus 1/2. Okay, 20 divided by parentheses 1 minus 1/2. That's just going to be 40. Okay, so infinite sums. Okay, that's how you handle that. All right. Now, some of this next. Here's the next question. Some more applications says, given the first term, an infinite sum, find the common ratio. So what you have to do is understand that this formula is equal to A1 over 1 minus R. Okay. So I can just substitute in for the infinite sum. I can substitute in for this, okay? Now, what I would do is I would cross multiply that up. So 135 times 1 minus R equals 45. So I would distribute that. So it's going to be 135 minus 135R equals 45, okay? I would subtract 135 okay, that's going to be negative 135 R, sorry, equals, okay, 45 minus is negative 90 divided by negative 135. So R equals negative 90 divided by negative 135 is, as a common ratio, would be 2/3. So that's my common ratio there, okay? So that's so simple. Let's do another one together, okay? So I got S infinity is equal to A1 over 1 minus R. Okay, I put 320 in there. I put 80 in there. I'm going to cross multiply that up, so 320 times 1 minus R equals 80. Distribute that, that's 320 minus 320R equals 80. I'd subtract 320. Okay, I'm left with negative 320R on this side. Let's figure out what 80 minus 320 is. Is negative 240. And I would divide by negative 320. R equals negative 240 divided by negative 320 is, that's going to be 3/4. Okay? All right, so what I'd like you guys to do, okay, is go ahead and pause your video and go ahead and find the first term or find the ratio given these. Okay, so this one, we'd set this up as 150 over 90, 1 minus R. Cross multiply that, okay, because my formula, just so I don't have to keep writing this so we can speed the video along. Okay, that would be my formula. So I got 150 times 1 minus R equals 90. Distribute that, that's 150 minus 150R. Subtract the 150, subtract the 150. I got negative 150R equals 90 minus 150. That's negative 60. Divide by negative 150. Negative 60 divided by negative 150 is 2/5. Okay? All right. So this one would be 300 over 200, 1 minus R. Okay? I would cross multiply that up, so 300, 1 minus R equals 200. Distribute that, that's 300 minus 300R equals 200. I would subtract 300. All right, 200 minus 300 is negative 100. I would divide by negative 300. Okay, so it's negative 100 over negative 300 is going to be 1/3. But let's just show it. It'll be 1/3. Okay? All right, moving on. Now, the next problem is just going to be a review. Try to tie everything together. Okay, these next couple problems. Okay, it says given A1 is that and A2 is this. Okay, I should probably tell you what A3 is like 10/3. Okay, all right. All right, so what we're going to do is we're going to find all of these different things here. Okay, now you can see that this is clearly not an arithmetic because those are different things. So in order to write the recursive, I'm going to need the R. So the R is going to be the second term divided by the first. Okay, so 10 divided by 30 is 1/3. Okay, so my explicit formula for the geometric would be this. Okay, so I got AN equals 30 times 1/3 the n minus 1. Okay, so there's my explicit formula. A10 means I'm going to substitute these in. 30 times 1/3 to the 10 minus 1. So I'm going to do 30 times 1/3. All right, 10 minus 1 is just going to be 9. Okay? All right, so that's a really big number. Actually, it's 10 over 6,561. Okay? S sub n. Okay, so the formula for that would be Sn equals A1 times 1 minus R to the n power 1 minus R. Okay? So what I would do for that, let's just move that up here. Okay? I'd have 30, 1 minus 1/3. Since I'm using 11, all right, I'm doing S11. That's what I would do. 1 minus 1/3. Okay. All right. Depending on how good your calculator is, all right, I would do 30. 1 minus 1/3 to the 11th. Whoops, it's too many. Okay. All right. Divided by 1 minus 1/3. Make sure you put parentheses always around your fraction. Okay, so I get about 45. Okay. All right. Find the infinite one. The infinite one formula is this. Okay, so I got 30 over 1 minus 1/3. Okay, pretty easy stuff there. All right, 30 divided by 1 minus 1/3. Okay, which is 45. It's actually the same thing. Okay, so both were end up being 45. All right, so what I like you to do, okay, I would just go ahead and tell you this is Geo, okay? All right, go ahead and pause your video, go ahead and find these things. All right, explicit formula, I have my R is 40 over 80, okay? 40 over 80 is a half. So I would be A1 times R to the n minus 1. So AN equals 80 times 1/2 to the n minus 1. Okay? To find the 12, I'd put 12 in there. Okay? All right, 80 times 1/2. 12 minus 1 is the 11th power. Okay, so it's a fraction, 5 over 128. Okay, find S13. So the S13 formula will be A1 times R to the 13th power over 1 minus R. Okay, if I put my values in there, my first is 80. My common ratio is 1/2. So 1/2 to the 13th power, all over 1 minus 1/2. Okay, I'll go ahead and use my calculator. 80, okay, times 1 minus 1/2 to the 13th power, divided by 1 minus 1/2. Okay, so I got 159, about 160. Okay, my S sub n will be 80 over 1 minus 1/2. Okay, 80 divided by 1 minus 1/2 is also 160. Okay, all right, so similar scenarios. All right, okay, here's the next one. Okay, so I got this going on here. All right, so clearly, as you can see, all right, the difference here is 9, the difference here is 9, so this is arithmetic. All right, so in order to find A30, I got to find the formula first. Okay, so I know that A sub n would be 11 plus n minus 1 times 9. To find A30, I just put 30 in for that. Okay, so A30 is 11 plus 30 minus 1 times 9. That's 272. Okay, S26, that formula would be n over 2 times 2 times A1, A plus 1 times n minus 1 times D. Okay, all right, so I go ahead and fill in 26 for that, so 26 over 2. All right, 2 times 11 plus 26 minus 1 times 9. Okay, all right, remember if you do decide to type everything in at one time, you have to put parentheses around your fraction. All right, 2 times 11 plus 26 minus 1, 9, double close. Okay, that's going to be 3, 2, 1, 1. Okay, write the recursive formula, sort of just a review. The idea is the recursive formula is just whatever my pattern is, 8n minus 1 plus 9. okay? All right, it's very simple. Just wanted to make sure we retouched on that. Okay, all right. Go ahead and pause your video, okay, and go ahead and work on these, okay? All right, so what I would need here, the difference here is -5 as we go. So AN plus 1 and -1 times D. So AN 36. We're trying to find to the 24th power. All right, so our 24th term, 24 minus 1 times -5. Okay? So I got 36 plus 24 minus 1 times -5. That's -79. Okay? The 20th term, the way that would set up, I would put 20 over 2 times 2 times 36 plus 20 minus 1 times -5, close the parentheses, okay? Once again, remember, if you're going to type that in, make sure you do that. 2 times 36 plus 20 minus 1, -5. Okay, it's -230. Okay, recursive formula, very simply, is what is the pattern? The pattern is -5. Okay? All right, moving on to the last kind of type of word problem for the sequence and series parts of this unit. Okay, it says a ball is dropped from 400 feet. It rebounds at 80% of the height. What is the height of the ball on the 4th bounce? So, this is a little bit confusing. You need to draw this out. So the first term here of my sequence is 400, because that's where it starts from. Then, when it hits the first time, it's like you drop the ball, boom, hits the first time. This technically is the first, second, third, and then 4th bounce, okay? So make sure you are, writing that out correctly. This is not the first, ironically. Now, what do you do with this 80%? This is like 0.8, okay? So that's gonna be like your R. So what I would do is 400 times 0.8, which is 320. All right, times 0.8 is 256. Times 0.8, 256 times 0.8 is 204.8. And 204.8 times 0.8 is 163.84. Okay, by the 4th bounce, that's how high it is. Okay, all right. So that's how you do that. Now it says, what is the total distance until the ball stops? So what's going to happen is the ball's going to keep bouncing, and it's eventually going to run out. So what they're tracking is how much distance or how much height is this covering each time all together. So what this becomes is it becomes an infinite sum problem, okay? Because it's bouncing on forever, okay? And eventually it will come to a stop, okay? So how do we do that? That's A1 over 1 minus R, okay? All right, so I got A1 is 400 divided by 1 minus 0.8, okay? So I do 400 divided by 1 minus 0.8. And that's going to go to 2,000 feet. It's pretty crazy, but that's how much it bounces. Okay? All right? So let's do another one of those together just so we practice that pretty good. Okay, so that's going to be, we'll do 5th. No, let's do 3rd here. And the one I asked you to do, we'll do 5. Okay, so ball is dropped from 200 feet at 60%. What is it on the 3rd bounce? So 200, then 1st, then 2nd, then 3rd. Okay, so what I want to do is 60% makes that R 0.6. All right, so 200 times 0.6 is 120, times 0.6 is 72, times 0.6 is 43.2. That's how high it is. Okay? What is the distance the ball stops? So this is going to be an infinite one at A1 over 1 minus R. So I got 200 over 1 minus 0.6. 200 divided by 1 minus 0.6, and it's going to be 500. Okay? All right. Now, what I like you guys to do, go ahead and pause your video. Go ahead and complete this one. All right, so this is going to be on the 5th bounce. So I got 150, first, second, third, fourth, 5th. Okay? All right. Now, since it's 20%, we'll use that as 0.2. All right, so 150 times 0.2 is 30, times 0.2 is 6, times 0.2 is 1.2, times 0.2 is 0.24, times 0.2 is 0.048, almost on the ground. Okay, so that would be what I'd have on the 5th. Okay, this one is just an infinite series problem. How long it takes the ball to stop? So I got 150 over 1 minus 0.2. Okay, so 150 divided by 1 minus 0.2. All right, would give me 187.5 feet. Okay. All right, so that is all for that sequences in series part of that unit.